Welcome to the trap. Welcome to the trap.
Welcome to the trap. Welcome to the trap. Welcome to the trap. Welcome to the trap.
Let's go. Zen.
Trap.
Zen.
Trap.
Zen.
Trap.
Zen.
Trap.
Protect.
Yo, peace.
Protect your energy.
Welcome back to the Zen Trap. I'm your host, Yogi LG.
And Zen P.
And we're here to bring you another Zen Trap Perspective, which is just our view on a video or book that we've read or watched. And today we have an amazing video. This video is by, it's actually a TED Talk featuring Tasha Eurich. And it's titled, let me make sure I get this right, Increase Your Self-Awareness with One Simple Fix. So I think it's a really good video. We're about to dive into it. Zen P, tell me who you would recommend this to first.
Well, I would recommend this video, cliche to anyone, but specifically to people who don't know what self-awareness is. Even if you think you know, I still would watch it just to confirm what you do know. So anybody who's wondering what self-awareness is and how you can apply it, or just in general and a different approach to self-awareness, we're recommend that to you. What about you? What do you think?
I think I personally put like self-awareness junkies. So like people who are, I wouldn't say obsessed, but like really into being self-aware, self-reflection, introspective. If you're into that type of thing, this is a very, very good video for you. Just because.
Just say my name. Really, just say my name. Then why don't you?
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely a good video for Zen P for sure. So I'm glad we both watched it. All right, so Zen P, how would you describe this video?
I would describe this video it's pretty straightforward. She goes through and just, again, gives down a breakdown of what the definition of self-awareness is, how people have been using it, and pretty much just a different approach towards self-awareness and how you can use it in your favor. And really just a lot of science behind why the approach we've been using may be inaccurate or not help you to achieve whatever goals you got. What about you? How would you describe it?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the similar things. I think what was really cool about me is kind of what you said, the scientific approach or the research that went into it. This lady has read thousands of papers and studies and done interviews with people and all kind of stuff. So I think really what it is, it gives you what self-awareness is from a research perspective, not just we're talking around the couch, thinking about what self-awareness is. It's really like, hey, we got some background and some knowledge and some science and some studies to back this up. And she got a team and all this other different stuff. So I think the video kind of just breaks it down and then, of course, then kind of gives you a tip on what you should do to kind of improve your self-awareness or how you can fix how you do introspective.
I feel that. So what's your favorite bar?
My favorite bar was, honestly, this is my favorite, but it was at the end, where she basically says that somebody made a quote, I don't remember the guy's name. Yesterday I was clever and I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I'm changing myself. And I was like, oh, that's a bar. That's for sure something that I resonate with, because you got to look within. Like, that's the biggest thing, is to start looking within. And when you start looking within, things around you in the world will start changing. What about you? What's one of your bars?
Let's see. So my favorite bar is probably two, but I'm gonna just start with this one because to me it's just like the meaning of the whole video, which is the word or the question why traps us in the rear view mirror, and what propels us forward is the question what. Absolutely. So that was just real big, because to me the whole video is talking about why we need to go away from asking why and focus more on like what. And I hate to say it again, but it's just motion versus action. Same old stuff, man.
Yeah, it definitely resonates with all the stuff we've been talking about in different books and videos. Again, we see it reoccurring, and that's definitely one of the things that reoccurs, is kind of shifting how you look at things. And so why versus what was a really good bar for me. I think one thing she said was, why leads us away from who we are, and it clouds our self-perception. So that was a good bar for me because a lot of times I ask why. I work for a company that does 5 whys, and so we constantly are driving why, and so that's part of my DNA almost. Is to ask why. So I think her saying that really gave me some perspective on just the concept of why and how that can lead you to a not so good space when you're kind of in the process of being self-aware and you're trying to think through things that you're doing and what you're feeling. Why doesn't necessarily get you there?
Okay. Do you agree with that now, or like what?
I think I do in some instances. Honestly, it's hard for me to do the what thing, like because sometimes it's gonna lead me back to why. I feel like, but it's a transition. Ultimately, me understanding, why does something make me feel this way versus what is gonna make me feel good or what is gonna make me feel better. So it's definitely I can use it and it's practical, and I can see how why can lead you down a bad path. Not bad, but a path that doesn't really get you to where you're trying to go. It kind of clouds your perception. But I don't know if I totally.
Where do you disagree with it?
You know what? I don't know. So maybe I don't disagree. Maybe I don't disagree. Maybe I agree. Because I don't necessarily disagree with using what. I just think sometimes why is helpful. Does that make sense? So I don't disagree with what, but I think why can be helpful at times.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Oh, cool. All right. What's your favorite section? Like when she was going through the video, what resonated with you the most?
The first one is just probably because it was the earliest, was when she was just pretty much saying how many, like if you surveyed pretty much people, 95% would think they're self-aware, or, just say they are self-aware, which not that I already knew that, but that's kind of what me and you talk about sometimes and some of our other friends, is that like everybody is capable of being self-aware, but it's a difference between being self-aware and being capable of self-aware. So I think the study, I like that the study kind of backs up that everybody is capable of being self-aware, but a lot of people aren't self-aware. And then the percentage that they found were from the people that they did survey was very low, 10 to 15%. And the method that they used to go about saying these are the people we deem to be self-aware versus people who weren't being self-aware. So I that area leading into it, talking about the research and also talking about how like the research showed them things that they didn't expect. It showed them the complete opposite outcome, because I think they went into it expecting that the question why would lead you down this right path, and then they found that most of the people that even do that, they keep they're not as happy and not as satisfied because they keep going through that why and not focusing a little bit more on the what. So yeah,
I even want to like piggyback on that, what you were talking about of how they selected these people that they considered self-aware. So they're doing these interviews and they call them like self-awareness unicorns, right? And so in order to be even included in the research, one, you had to believe you were self-aware, but then they had to find another person that believed, like someone who knew you, who could contest to saying, yes, that person is self-aware. So I wanted to ask you, do you feel I'm self-aware?
put me on the spot.
Hey, keep it real.
No has it. So I just want to clarify my response.
You don't need to.
Okay. I know I don't need to.
All right.
Yes, I do feel like you're self-aware.
Okay. Did you want to clarify?
Nah,
Okay.
No, I can.
Okay.
But
Cool. All right, so the other part of it was that you had to believe that you had become more self-aware in your journey, and then that other person also had to contest that you had become more self-aware. So once again, ZMP, do you feel like I have become more self-aware in your time of knowing me?
no.
Okay, cool. I obviously couldn't have been part of the research.
Okay. So
That's
you're
good,
still
though.
part of the research. You're just in the other category.
I'm in another category for sure. All right, but I thought that was really cool too, to kind of like bring in somebody that knows you well and gives a perspective on your self-awareness and where you're at. So I thought that was a good section of the video as well. That's what.
All right. Same question for me there. Same 2 questions.
Yeah, you're self-aware. I think you've become more self-aware. Yeah, I would say yes to both.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So, is there a story in your life that you feel like applies?
LGMP story time. Story time.
I'm sure it's
story
many,
time. Story time.
many stories.
With
Let me
LGMP
think
story
of one
time.
that comes
Story
to mind
time.
about being
Story time. Story
self-aware.
time.
I think
With LGMP story time.
the biggest one is just
story time. Story time.
because I'm trying to think of a story instead of like
Story time.
just saying what I felt about the video, because I can say that, I guess, towards the end. So a story that applies to me is okay, so maybe when I'm at work, I like when I used to work at a different company, I was very self-aware about how I was coming across to people. And I knew that sometimes I was coming across to some people in a negative way and some people in a positive way. But I was very self-aware of it. And even when I got that feedback, right, wrong, or indifferent, sometimes it's not that I didn't care. I wasn't trying to change that. I was aware of it. I received it. I didn't say anything negative back. I even kind of would what's the word? Not propose it. I would even start with it sometimes. So I like to believe that I'm open and aware of 360 feedback. And just to be very specific on it, I was at this job that it's not that I didn't like the job, because I liked the job. I liked the people. I liked a lot of aspects of the job. It was some people I didn't fancy or care about too much. But either way, I knew how I was coming across in that job was that I didn't care about a lot of things. I would be kind of leaning in my desk a little bit, like sitting like this. I would just be like walking around talking to certain people and like but still, what they couldn't hold against me is my like results on work and stuff. The only thing they could hold against me is my demeanor. And I was like, I'm perfectly fine with that. I'm perfectly fine. So it's just more so stuff like that. So I would go around saying like, talking to certain people where they'd be like, oh, Paris, if you just, or whatever, Paris, if you just did this, then you might could get here, here, and here. And I was like, well, okay, I'm not trying to get there, there, and there. I'm literally doing this because I want to get to here. Yeah. And some people may not see that, and that's cool. I know I'm coming across that way. I recognize it. Thank you for bringing it up to me. What about you?
I think I kind of hinted at it earlier, but like something that applies to me personally is just the 5 whys that I talked about, like even with my job, right? That's kind of drilled into you as far as like how you find a root cause of something or why something's happening in your life or why you're feeling a certain way is to drive it down. So I do a lot of overthinking, I would say, into that 5 why type thing. I keep going, and sometimes I just go way past what my destination is.
Why do you think that is?
Why do I do the 5 why?
No, why do you think you keep going? Why do you think that is?
Just because.
Trick question. I'm just playing. I was just playing.
That's funny. I don't know, but I don't know if you're asking that for real, but I don't know.
I mean, if you want to answer it, it's a real question, but it's not something you have to answer.
Yeah, I think I'm constantly searching for the true root cause and trying to highlight whatever feeling that I'm probably like depressed deep down. I want to like bring that feeling up to the surface and say like, all right, that's it. That's really what it is. But I think a lot quicker way, like she's saying, is to say what, right? To instead of asking that question, why, you go ahead and jump to the end. What's your end result? What are you looking for? What are you trying to get at? What are you trying to solve? What are you trying to do? And just motion versus action, right? Like, what do you want to get accomplished from this self-reflection space? What do you want to get accomplished? So I think that applies. That's something that I do that I'm working on constantly, of just one, not overthinking, not driving those whys into the ground, but more so just asking myself what.
Cool.
So that's good for me. What do you think has been your biggest takeaway from this video? Like, what are you gonna take with you, put in your pocket, and it's gonna be with you for the next 6 months for sure?
Definitely what you just said. Asking, what more? How this serves me. I'll definitely say this. I definitely took a different understanding for people that continue to ask themselves why and stuff. I think I had a good understanding, but I definitely have a better understanding from this video. Just And again, I like having the numbers behind it to go with the conversation that we've had before in other friend groups. It's just about that, like, everybody is capable of being self-aware. But I like to even take it a step further. You're self-aware now. So what? That still ain't helping either. You could be the most self-aware person ever, and everybody can feel like you self-aware. But if you just sitting there being self-aware, so what?
Well, I mean, I think one thing she was saying was like self-aware people tend to perform better. They're happier. They're more creative. So you want to get there. So
No, but I feel like it was two sides of it though, because she also was saying that those same self-aware people that, and maybe I'm confusing, but those same self-aware people are the people that aren't happy as well.
I think she was talking about the people who were considering themselves self-aware, but were asking that why question. So it's these self-aware unicorns that don't ask why. That instead of why coming up, more so what came up. But I think there are people who feel they're self-aware.
So I thought the what people were the ones that like.
Those are the self-aware unicorns. Are the people who
and those are people that are usually happy, right?
Yes, but they thought that these people that were in this first group, that like somebody else thought.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, so what? But again, what I was saying on that is that, like, I think why they're unhappy is again because they're not doing the what. So that's what I was trying to piggyback into is that, like, you can be as self-aware as you want, but if you're not doing nothing about it, like if you just sitting there thinking about it, just receiving it all in, it's not gonna help. It's not gonna serve you as much as it could.
Absolutely, I agree. I think that my biggest takeaway is pretty much the same, using the what in my daily practices. I thought it was really good though that, and I'm probably gonna keep this with me forever, was she gave an example of like the pantyhose. Do you remember that? Where she said researchers basically laid out 4 types of pantyhose that were all exactly the same and asked consumers to pick. And so it's already researched that consumers like the one on the right. So everybody picked the one on the right. And when they were asked why, they didn't really have a reason, right?
That burns me up.
They just thought that one is better. And so I thought that was so funny because I know that stuff like that burns you up. And so then it even took it a step further that they were willing to defend that pair was better. Like, even
do you know what burns me up about it though? What? Like, I'm asking, do you know?
It's because you don't even know why. You don't know why. You're just saying something without knowing why. Yeah,
that's the biggest part of it. But it's more so that, like, I feel like most people that do that, they don't double down on that. That's what the reason is.
They don't double down on
They don't double down in saying that, like, I know I don't know why, but I'm choosing it just based off of feeling. I don't feel like a lot of people will, like, admit that. They
want to prove, like, nah, this one looks
They still
better.
will try and come up with reasons, and that's the part I don't like, where they be like, well, nah, this one is a little bit wider. If you look at the stitching on this side right here. All right, man. All right.
Hey, man, it's amazing what you can convince yourself of, though. I'm sure.
Well, everybody does that. When you debating or talking about stuff, even when you Googling stuff you Googling stuff to validate your opinion.
Yep, absolutely. So I think that was a really good example that will stick with me, especially when it comes to just communicating with Zen P and talking about different things of, like, you willing to double down and try to defend something that we, like, you don't even know why you're doing it. You just doing it and then you're going to double down on it. That's why. So.
Well, double down on it and get to the end and realize, like, oh, yeah, I don't really have no facts. Oh, well, all right, let's just keep on moving.
You going to call me out like that?
I didn't say no names.
That's cool. That's good. Yeah. But, I mean, ultimately, I think the video was really good. Any last bars you want to drop on them from that video?
Any last bars? No, it was pretty short and sweet. I think it was only like 17 minutes.
Yeah. I do want to define self-awareness real quick, or how she defined it. I think she said self-awareness is the ability to see ourselves clearly, to understand who we are, how others see us, and how we will fit into the world. I thought that was a great definition.
For sure.
Encompassed everything, others, yourself, all that. So I thought that was
I will say, I do like that maybe some people will overlook is how she included herself in it. Where she gave an example of, she wrote a book, put it on Amazon. She did the thing that authors aren't supposed to do, which is read the reviews of it, read all these reviews. This is the same thing Big Sean was talking about, reading comments and stuff, read the reviews, started reading all this stuff, and started asking like, why do these people hate me and stuff? And then like, oh, not like.
What about all the people I'm helping?
What about all the people I'm helping? What about all these? So yeah, that may be true, may not, but that's not what I should be focused on really right now. Unless they're giving me real feedback from the book versus like, oh, you suck, this sucks. What? You're gonna spin yourself into a corner. And I like how she brought that to the like too, that like that I suffer with this too.
Yep.
I am not no magical person that doesn't.
She's not a self-awareness unicorn.
Life is
herself.
hard. We all are suffering type stuff. So I love when people bring stuff like that to the light, but I feel like a lot of people kind of overlook that because they just want to hear like, oh, if you doing good, you doing successful. I just want to hear about the good stuff. I don't want to hear about that you struggling. I don't care.
Yeah, so it was good that she used herself as an example for sure. Definitely recommend it. Go watch it. It's short. It's quick. It's not a hard listen. Really good video. Ted obviously supports it, backs it. So check it out.
Hey man, we got a new setup. Tell us if you like it.
Check it out. We chilling on the couch. This has been another Zen Trap Perspective with Yogi LG.
Zen P.
Hey, remember to protect your peace, protect
your
your
energy.
energy. We out.
Welcome to the trap. Welcome to the trap.